Today, something happened to me that hasn't happened in a long time. I lost my balance and fell flat on my face. Patrick heard my scream and was bewildered to see me on the floor. Fortunately, I did a face plant onto the living room carpet and only suffered minor carpet burns. I don't remember the last time this happened. I'm normally perfectly balanced on one foot. In part, I owe my balancing skills to the physical therapy I did as a little girl. Because my mom was a nurse, she realized that as a toddler I would need some training to help me transition from scooting around on the floor, which I did instead of crawling, to walking upright. Learning to walk was difficult for me because I didn't have arms to grab onto furniture and walls the way toddlers do. I also couldn't catch myself if I fell. Physical therapy helped me develop the specific muscles I needed to balance and eventually to walk. 30 years later, I'm still reaping the benefits of that physical therapy. As you may already know, rehabilitation is at the core of Handicap International's work in 57 countries. Whether helping victims of war with disabling injuries to learn how to walk again, teaching children with cerebral palsy how to feed themselves, or ensuring a person with diabetes stays active to avoid the disease's disabling consequences, HI gives the people it supports the chance to live fuller, more independent lives. While other organizations save lives through emergency medical care, you might say that Handicap International gives people the bodily means and hope to stay alive. It's unfortunate that in both the world of international development and the U.S. healthcare system, rehabilitation is often viewed as something of a luxury rather than a necessity. Funding for rehabilitation falls well short of the need. That's scary considering that 15% of the world's population lives with some kind of disability. Plus, as more and more people are living past their 70s, chances are that many of us will eventually develop physical impairments as a result of conditions like stroke or osteoporosis. We will need rehabilitation to recover. I know how vital physical therapy can be for people as they age. My mother survived for 7 years after being diagnosed with brain cancer in 2009 and had grown weaker from radiation and chemotherapy when in 2010 she suffered a huge setback, a stroke. The stroke mainly affected Mom's ability to walk. Physical therapy was key for her recovery. After we started taking her to rehab, she slowly regained a lot of her mobility and strength. Her biggest goal was to walk without an assistive walking frame. Unfortunately, in 2015, my mother's insurance stopped covering her physical therapy because she had reached her maximum allowance. It's maddening that her insurance provider can limit something so critical to her quality of life. My mother had Medicare, which caps annual payments for physical therapy. Members of Congress who determined the budget for Medicare acknowledged that the physical therapy cap is harmful, but the Senate failed to repeal the cap when it came to vote in April 2015. The road to mobility and independence through rehabilitation literally takes one small, slow step at a time, but progress through rehab is well documented. I have seen the benefits with my own eyes. Before her insurance coverage ended, my mother was close to giving up her walker and progressing to a cane. We hoped she would soon not need rehab at all, but by the end of 2015, with her rehab cut short, it felt like all her progress had been erased. We worried that her mobility would slowly deteriorate as she might lose her independence completely, having to rely on other people for her basic needs, such as going to the bathroom, which would likely develop further potential costly health problems as a result of being unable to move. Sadly, my mom lost her battle with cancer last July. I hope that in some small way, by sharing this story, more people will call on policymakers to ensure that rehabilitation becomes an integral part of healthcare systems. If you're a U.S. citizen, you can send a message to your members of Congress about the Medicare physical therapy cap. In the case of my fall, well, I'm not sure I need a tune-up just yet. But I may need to call on the power of physical therapy in the future, and I think everyone should have the ability to do the same. I have another challenge for you. I take my feet for granted just like you take your hands for granted. So this week, I'd like to see you carry an empty dinner plate from the kitchen to the dinner table without using your arms or hands. Post some proof down in the comments and I'll share my favorites on my Facebook page. I would love to hear your feedback, questions, and episode ideas down below. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little motivation. After all, if I can fly an airplane without arms, what is it that you can do?